We head out to Belpre, where we begin with some action in transition. Chris Copeland with a breakaway, and he slams it down with one hand. He and his teammates are fired up after that one. Golden Eagles were in control in the first half. Here's a layup in the fast break from Messiah Spencer. And then it would be Malik Curry, who sizes up his defender, pulls up with a three-pointer, and nails it. Alexander had some success themselves from behind the arc, with Mason Morris knocking down a three of his own. However, the Golden Eagles were able to take a 32-19 lead at the half with some help from this layup from Chase Mays on another transition opportunity. Alexander would not go away, though, as Morris drills a three ball again for the Spartans. He would end up with a total of 5 of them for the night. Isaac Waller also provided some assistance in the paint, as shown in this layup here. From the putback, the Spartans would cut the lead down, but Messiah Spencer knocks down the three in the corner. He led the way for the Golden Eagles with 18 points. Belpre starts its season at 1-0 with home win over Alexander, 59-54.